And we're back. Yeah, so in the last video we did a bunch of little knick-knack things, just getting it more winter ready, some brakes, windshield wipers, things like that. So if you remember this list, we left off two key things, the valve cover gaskets and spark plugs. So I'm going to get started on the valve cover gaskets today. They are really juicy. They are leaking quite a bit. So those definitely need to be replaced. So I got the part already. So I'm just going to start tearing into this, and hopefully I can get it done before the light dies on me. So here we go, valve cover gaskets. Let's do this. So valve cover gaskets on an EJ22 are pretty straightforward. You don't have to deal with coil packs or anything like that. It's really, there's just 3 bolts that are holding that valve cover in place, and they're pretty well accessible. There's enough room between the valve cover and the frame rail that you can get down there and do your business. Driver's side, you do need to remove some things just to give yourself access. Get the battery out of your way, get your windshield wiper reservoir out of the way as well, and that'll give you enough room to grab stuff. So passenger side, there's some stuff to get out of the way as well. There's still plenty of room between the frame rail and the valve cover to do what you need to do, but over here you need to get rid of your air box. So everything from here all the way over, that just needs to come out, and that gives you plenty of room to reach all 3 of those bolts. So I'm going to start tearing into this thing, get it where I can get to the valve covers, but I'm going to start over there. I'm going to get on the driver's side. Okay, so with the battery out of the way and then the windshield wiper reservoir just moved up out of the way, that gives you plenty of access to the 3 bolts, and you can see them. This is the one right in the middle, and then there's one tucked in the back. The back one can be a little tricky to get to, but with the reservoir out of the way, it shouldn't be too difficult. So there's a few ways of tackling the driver's side. Some people like to take the filler neck off, which you certainly can do that. I only do that if it's fighting me coming off, but it's one of the techniques. So what you do have to do though is remove the PVC or PCV hoses. So there's 2 of them. There's 2 of them in the back. So this one and this one. You got to remove these, pull them out of the way. So the trickiest one is this rear bolt right here. It helps a lot if you have a ratcheting wrench. It's even better if you have a ratcheting angled wrench like this, but I don't have a ratcheting one, so I'm gonna make do with this one. So there's plenty of room. Here's the frame rail, this is the valve cover. There's plenty of room. Just get it on there. Oop, my light. This is tricky with a light, but get it on there, and then there we go. That's all she wrote. That one will come right out. The other ones are really easy. You can plainly see them, easy to get a wrench to. That back one is the trickiest one. All right, so all the bolts are out. It's loose, so now, do you guys want to watch me struggle getting it out? Of course you do. Here we go. Oh, like a snake. What? We'll just go right through here. Boom. There we go. One very dirty valve cover gasket. Well, valve cover. The inside actually looks really good. All right, let's go inspect this bad boy. So the gasket looks okay along the top. but you can see where there's like obvious points of damage, like pinches, like especially along the bottom, which the bottom is the worst part, right? Because it's a boxer engine, so this sits in the car like this all the time. So all of the oil spends most of its time in these two lobes. So this is the most critical point, and this is where they fail, right? So this is the rear, and it looks like, yeah, like right here, bottom corner, there's a lot of deformation. So yeah, this gasket, it's actually like, it's pretty spongy still. It's not super rigid, and the grommets too. Grommets are okay. They're a little hard, but I'm thinking all of this damage along the bottom, that's where we've had the leaks and the failure. Yeah, because like some of these pinches, like right here and right here, it's almost flush with the metal, so oil is just going to be able to seep right through that. So we'll get the new one on here and get it back in the car. Alright, so that is one clean valve cover. So I've just gone through here, and with a pick and a towel I've cleaned out the canal where the gasket actually sits. You want that to be as clean as you can. Any contaminant in there is going to potentially foul your gasket, so you just want that to be as clean as possible. And then of course you want this to be extremely clean as well. Just you don't want a bunch of debris in here. It'll get picked up by your valve train, and then that's bad news. And then I just went above and beyond and gave it a little shine. This was basically black because of all the grease and oil on it, but a little brake clean, a little elbow grease, and a few very satisfying minutes later, it looks like this. Alright, so let's get the new gasket in here, and then we'll get this back onto the engine head. Alright, so this is your new gasket material. You'll see it has some like tabs in here. That's so it will hold on to the metal, and it kind of comes out like spaghetti, so you just kind of have to let it find its way. It's going to find the shape, so just start slowly like that. It feels like I'm in a hurricane. So everything is placed in. Now you just kind of push it in to place. Make sure it grabs anywhere it can. If you wanted to be really aggressive with this, you could put gasket maker material. I know some people will put a thin bead of that sometimes in the canal, especially along the bottom, but I don't know, that just causes more problem when you have to replace them, because now you have a bunch of gasket material that you have to get out of there. So that should be seated, so that's going to be good. Now the trick is to get this back into the car, onto the head, without disturbing the gasket. So you don't want to catch it on anything. So like if you install it and let's say like this corner was slightly higher than the rest of them, that corner has a chance of folding over and then just popping itself out, and oil is going to find its way around it. So you just kind of have to be gentle. It takes a little technique and a little patience to get this back in the car, but just make sure that your gasket is firmly seated in here and that it's not going to catch on anything. So let's go get this back in the car. Alright, so you can see that shiny, freshly washed valve cover in there. I got it all back in. You just have to kind of work slowly. It will go back in. You don't have to do anything crazy. There's plenty of room. It's just the best way I've found to do it is to get the valve cover as parallel as you can with the frame rail. If you have it cocked a little bit, it's not going to slide in. But if you have it as parallel and horizontal and vertical with this frame rail as possible, you can get it in right here and then slide it back, and it'll find itself where it wants to be. So I've got everything reattached. I did switch out the spark plugs on this side, and I got my PCV hoses reattached in the back, and then reinstalled my windshield wiper reservoir. I'm going to hold off on the battery because I still need to go do the passenger side. So, but this one is all wrapped up. Let's hope it doesn't leak oil. Just for reference, this is the passenger side, and this is what it looks like when it comes out of the car. So I'm gonna go hit this with some brake cleaner and some elbow grease, and then I'll show you the results. And that is an after. So this one was a little harder to clean. Like, you'll see the top of it is still kind of grungy and gross. That's just, it's been baked on there pretty good. This is the turbo side, so anything that gets up on here just gets baked by the turbo. So I could get it cleaner if I really wanted to, but I just need to get this job done. It looks good enough for now, so let's get this thing back in the car. So it's been a few days, more like a week actually, since I did the valve covers. So I got them reinstalled, and then I needed to go and do an oil change. So I got the oil changed, and then I've just been driving it a week just to make sure that everything was good to go with it. Make sure that that was the actual oil leak I was seeing, and it is. So the new valve covers have solved the dripping oil problem, and it's running beautifully now. So, all right, guys, that's gonna be it for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Comment down below. And yeah, have a happy winter. And talk to you in the next one. See you guys.